The next project we're going to be working on is cabinet doors and drawer faces for the whole bus. So we saved building those for closer to the end of building out the bus so that we wouldn't damage anything in the midst of construction. So it's time though to get that project going. So we kind of have three different parts of that project. So for the kitchen, the lower kitchen cabinets are IKEA, so we have a handful of just IKEA drawer faces and stuff that we have to install, so that shouldn't be too big of a deal. And then in the kids' bedroom, we just have two little drawer faces that are the pre-finished birch, and so all we have to do is cut out those rectangles, and we're using our pre-finished birch plywood, and so we'll edge band those, and then those should be a simple install. But then all of the rest of the doors and faces that we have to make are going to be painted white. And so that's going to add a couple more steps to the process. So again, for that we're using birch, but we're using just unfinished, not the pre-finished, because that doesn't paint very well. You would have to sand off that pre-finish anyway. So we have just regular unfinished birch plywood. We're going to edge band that to make it easier to paint and so that the plies don't show through the white paint as much. So we're going to edge band all of that and then prime and paint all of that. And then we have to deal with all of the hinges for all of the cabinet doors. So we have a mixture of, doors that open sideways and doors that open up. And so we have to start working on all of the hinges and figuring out all of that. So for today though, we're going to start with the very easiest thing to do, which is those two little drawer faces in the kids' bedroom that all we have to do, we're just using actually some scrap that we have that is big enough to fit those two little drawer faces. So we're just going to get those cut, get those edge banded, and get those two little drawer faces installed. Actually, one is a drawer face, one is sort of a fake drawer face that we have to figure out how we're actually going to install because we want it to just kind of pop off. So we do have to figure out that. But that is what we are starting today, is all of the cabinet doors and drawer fronts. A little bit hanging over. Just trim it so there's a little bit hanging over on that. Okay. Just keep it centered. And then push down.
It goes smoother now that I have the whole thing on the edge.
Nice. Okay, so now why don't you snip the edges first and then sand. Okay, so we're getting ready to install this first drawer face, and what we're going to do so we know we have it in the right place is we made some marks where we think the overlay should be to, and then we put some double-sided tape on the drawer, and for now we're just going to align this with our marks and stick it to it, and then we need to test it against, when we pull it out, to make sure we've got enough clearance against this wall and this plug right here. So this is just kind of our first step, is test it, make sure that this alignment works and that it looks level and we don't have anything, out of alignment. And then if that fits well, we're going to trace on the back. We'll open up the drawer and kind of trace on there. And then that way we can just take the whole drawer out, realign it with our tracing, and screw it together. So that's our plan. We're going to go ahead and try and stick this on here now.
All right, so we've got the drawer installed on the passenger side of the kids' room, and we wanted to make a fake drawer on the other side that sort of mimicked that same look, so it looks the same across both sides. We have the diesel heater under there, so we cut in some slots so that it could have an air intake there. And in order to pop it on and off, we 3D printed some little, they're just basically false front clips, and so they just snap into place and then they snap off. So this is how they work. So it should be just enough to kind of hold it on there. So we're gonna give these a try. We'll see how they work. Good.
Do you want to try taking it off? All right. Oh, good. That was pretty easy.
Not too bad. All right, so we've made precise measurements of the exact size of our cabinet doors and drawer faces. And so it turns out we need to make 25 of them. And so we bought 3 large 4x8 sheets of plywood that we're going to be making them out of. And then we downloaded a program called Cut Optimizer. And what it does is you input all your panel dimensions and then the size of what you're cutting them out of, and then it will optimize how those panels are cut in those sheets and give you a bunch of cut paths and things like that. So if you had a CNC, it would just cut them for you. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started on cutting those out. So that's what we'll be doing next.
Okay, so we got all of the drawer faces and cabinet doors cut, and next step is figuring out hinges. So when we designed our face frames, we planned on having 1/2-inch overlay and then on the doors, and then where 2 doors were going to sort of meet next to each other, there would be a 1/4-inch gap. So what we got is these 1/2-inch overlay soft close, just cup hinges. And we decided, I know Blum is kind of like the big brand that is really nice, but I think on Amazon, a 10-pack of those is like $50 or $55, something like that. And these are just the Amazon Basics brand, and these are 10-pack was like $25 or $26 something, so about half the price. So we thought we would just order 1 pack of them, give them a try, see if we like them, and if so, then we'll just order the rest that we need. So that's what these are. That's what we're testing out today. So we went ahead and just cut some scrap pieces to test out the hinges. And so this is just sort of mimicking a small cabinet door, kind of like the ones that are up in the front of the bus, like around the driver's area. And so you can see the back of them right there. And so these cabinets go up. These are upper cabinets that go up, and you can see they're just soft close. I'll do it from the side so you can see it. So it's holding it up really nicely as well. And then when we close them, they just soft close down. And those work really well on those smaller cabinets. And then we also tried them on, we have some bigger cabinet doors, like over the kids' van seats in the kind of next to our refrigerator. We've got a really big one there. And then we also have big, like our pantry door is kind of big, and our closet doors, they're narrow, but they're kind of tall. So we wanted to test it out on a bigger piece too. So for like mimicking as if this was like a closet door, you can see we have three. We decided to try 3 back here. We actually tried 4 as well, but 3 seemed to work really well for a closet door like this. So you can see it would open, and then when we close it, it's just gonna soft close. And it works really well like that. Now the problem is on like the one that's a big upper cabinet that is above the kids' seats. I don't know how am I gonna do this, let me see. If I try and lift this up, it will not hold it up. It's just gonna flop right back down. So even with 4, we tried it with 4 and it didn't work either. So our plan is to use these cup hinges on the little ones up front that are uppers and pull up. They should be fine. And then on all of our doors that just open like normal doors, our pantry doors, the closet doors, all of that. But on all of the rest of our upper cabinets, like above the kitchen counter and that one above the kids' van seat and the technology cabinet cupboard, which is above the refrigerator, instead of using these, because we want it to be able to hold up so we're not lifting it up and then it falls right back down on us, we're actually going to use these IKEA hinges. I think they're called Utrusta or something like that. And these are, obviously they're a lot bigger, they're more heavy duty. These will soft close, they'll open it, they'll soft close, and they act as a stay and they will hold them up. So we're gonna use these big ones where we have those bigger upper doors that open up and down. The issue with these is they are made for frameless cabinets, not ones like ours with face frames. So what we're gonna have to do is build out a little, like a shim to mount this to just inside so it lines it up with the face frame, and then we can use these for those. And I think that's it. So for making that, we're gonna start drilling out all the holes for these cup hinges, and we're gonna be using our Craig hinge jig and just kind of assembly line all the cabinets that we're gonna be using these with and get started on that for the next project. So for the next part of the project, we're gonna edge band all the edges of the plywood doors and drawer fronts. We are gonna be painting all of these white, but we've painted over the plywood edges before, and we've never just been super happy with how that's turned out. I mean, even with primer and multiple coats, and we've even used filler to fill any voids or anything like that. And we've just never been 100% happy with how that turned out. It's okay, but it's not as smooth as it could be. And so we have a bunch of edge banding, so we're just gonna take the time to edge band all of the edges to cover up those voids, cover up the plies, and give it a nicer surface to paint those edges on when we paint the doors. So that's what we're gonna be working on. We actually can see we're actually in our garage at home. We brought all the supplies home so we can work on this at night this week. So that's what we're gonna get started on doing now.
All right, so one of the doors that needs to be a little bit modified is the door over the refrigerator. And that's our technology cabinet where we have all of our electronic stuff and monitors and things like that. And so we needed a place to mount our Color Control GX, which is for our Victron equipment to monitor all the electrical systems and then our tank monitor, which is a sea level 2 tank monitor. So we've decided to put them on the outside of this door so we don't have to constantly be opening and closing that door. But we have fans in the back of that cabinet that will pull fresh air through down the back of the refrigerator and then out through a vent in the side of the bus. And so we need to cut some holes in this for that to work, for it to be able to draw fresh air in. And so we're going to do that, but before we can do that, we're going to make these holes for the 2 devices that I just mentioned so that we could get it all lined up. So that's what we're going to do now.
Okay, so we've got all of our cabinet doors and drawer fronts ready to be installed. We edge banded them, we sanded them down, we primed them and painted them, and everything is ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and start taking these in and working on getting the hinges in and getting everything installed.
Nice guy.
Come down.
Right. A little bit.
What we want. Nothing. Okay, so are we lining this up kind of with the bottom then?
Yeah.
Close. It's within adjustability, I think. scoot this back in just like the tiniest bit.
So this way.
Yeah, like closer to the other door. Just like. Is this the top? You see those marks right there on the top? So I might have to bring the door forward though, remember?
All right. So let's push this on.
Well, do you want me to just mark?
No, I want to close it back up and see where it's at.
You got it?
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it is. Okay. There.
Yeah, that looks pretty good that way.